Oh my god, it is freaking hot as balls right now, and we're so afraid that the rain is gonna come and ruin this party we're about to throw.
So we are doing a big fan meetup. It's our first fan meetup ever, and you saw that we did the 10 for 10, how to cook for 10 people, $10, 20 for 20. But for this fan meetup, we are gonna do how to cook for 100 people, 100 Brothers Green fans.
$100. And the whole idea here is that you guys actually get to see that cooking and throwing a party does not have to be super expensive. Mike and I used to do these. We used to do these parties all the time. That's the concept behind the damn video. We used to do these parties all the time. We'd throw like taco parties for office people and whatever. And people love tacos. It's cheap food, it's flavorful food, delicious food, and hopefully you guys learn something.
And we are cooking in about 3 hours, and they say, I just looked at the weather report, deadly lightning. What is it?
When is lightning not deadly?
Is it usually not deadly? They're
like
trying to scare us.
Superpower lightning?
They're doing a good job though. So what happened was yesterday we went to Chinatown, Brooklyn, which is our favorite place to go when we are on a budget because it is super cheap there. You can get so much stuff. And since we are going to Chinatown, we wanted to do a unique taco, specifically an Asian style taco that we haven't done before.
So we're doing my favorite style of cuisine, which is Vietnamese food.
Oh, the
We're
best.
doing banh mi tacos. We're also gonna make some ribs.
Banh mi tacos?
Banh mi tacos, think about it. Yeah,
right.
So you got the meat filling, you got the tomato,
I wasn't even thinking about
cilantro, cucumber, and pickled veggies, which is just an amazing combination. It makes it fun. Bring people together. You can throw a party. You could ask everyone, hey guys, bring $1 and you can feed 100 people. Imagine you would blow your friend's mind if you could throw a party for that.
So when we were in Chinatown, we started off in the meat section. We wanted to get that taken care of.
Chicken thigh, $2 a pound.
Then we went over to the produce section. We got a ton of different
You gotta kind of look and see when you're doing budget cooking. You gotta look and see what's fresh, what's cheap, what stuff's on sale. You know, we got a big bag of rice, different things.
And
like
then
that.
we needed a few condiments. We got some black bean paste, some soy sauce.
A ton of stuff, pretty much everything except the beef right now, and it was only 55 bucks.
Yeah, $55.
So we're gonna go back and we're gonna pile on a few more things.
I really thought this was gonna like completely tap us out because this is a grocery cart filled with good shit.
Chinatown, Brooklyn.
Oh my god, hope you guys are hungry. Also, a note for these videos, we're not including very basic things like salt, sugar, oil. Of course you can include them in your budget. We just have so much of it all around and it's gonna cost us very little. We always save a couple dollars in the budget.
We actually had $45 more, so we went back and we got some pork. So we're gonna do some spare ribs as well.
We got about 12 pounds of pork ribs, and this was 27 bucks. Things are gonna be incredible, grilled up with the Hoisin Glazed. Woo! Just so you guys know we're not lying, here is the first receipt, and this one is $55 right here. That covers most of it. Then we went back, we got the spare ribs, we got a few other things, which was $35 right there. So now we've got a little less than $10 for the rest of the stuff.
And then just the last final thing, I had to go get some tortilla shells. We did not show that, but we were able to get really cheap tortilla shells where we live, and we're gonna make amazing tacos. But whatever you guys want, you don't have to do Vietnamese food, you can do anything. Just go to the market, look around, see what looks good, see what's on sale, and get creative and have fun. We had a very basic idea, and then when we went there, all hell just kinda had fun.
So let's get into these creative Vietnamese taco recipes.
First up is chicken. So this Vietnamese chicken, if you've ever been to a Vietnamese place and you get like a side of chicken or pork, there's this very unique flavor to it.
This is the basic one?
This is the very basic. So it's basically just fish sauce, sugar, and meat.
Basically
So what I did was I took a bunch of sugar, fish sauce, I wouldn't say equal parts, but kind of, you're kind of making just like a marinade with that, and I added some oil to that, and then I took all of my chicken thigh and just put that in there. Now I would say let it marinate for at least a few hours, but I went overnight, so it's gonna get better and better and better. And after overnight is over, you've slept, you've dreamed, you've wet dreamed, whatever you've done in your sleep alone, you know. After that is over, take the chicken out and just wash it off. Just kind of get all the excess marinade off there, otherwise when you're grilling it, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Then you're ready for delicious chicken.
For the ribs, what I did first was I just washed them off. I rinsed them underwater and got a lot of that extra muck off of the ribs. And then to a big old pot, I added some slices of ginger, I added some garlic, some cloves, a little bit of star anise, some cinnamon, some salt. We didn't buy that stuff and it's not mandatory, but you can just throw in whatever spice you have to give it a little extra flavor. And then I stacked on those ribs tight, just like that. Just stacked them in all, and I got them all in that pot and filled it up with a little bit of water. Doesn't matter if it goes all the way to the top. And then I just threw them into the oven and slow cooked them at like 275 for maybe 3 hours. And just keep checking them in that last hour. And again, you just want to cut off a little piece of meat. If it's super chewy, you can throw it back in there for another half hour, an hour. But if it's nice and tender and it's got a tiny bit of chew, you want to pull them right there. Every party should have a vegetarian option. So we wanted to not do a shitty vegetarian option. We wanted to do something where the vegetarians still feel empowered. They still feel like they're getting that meaty substance.
So much so that sometimes the meat eaters are like, wait a minute,
exactly.
I don't want that.
That's when you know you have good vegetarian food.
King oyster mushrooms.
So king oyster mushrooms, you can find them in any Chinese supermarket, and they are great. And I actually saw this on a Vice video. This guy like made it famous. He smoked the king oysters. So I wanted to do the same thing, but I didn't have a smoker. So what I did was I just took out a pan, I coated the bottom with a little bit of oil, cut the king oyster mushrooms right in half, stacked them on, hit them with a little bit of salt and oil, and then just covered them in tin foil. And I put them in the same oven as the pork, which was great, 275, and I cooked them for pretty much the same amount of time, around, you know, 3 hours. That was perfect. They came out of the oven, they were nice and juicy. You can let them sit for a little bit. Then I just took a fork and I just started shredding those, and they shred really nicely. You can kind of cut them right at the end, and you can also just like mash the actual mushroom cap. That's not really gonna shred. And that looks incredible. That looks like chicken, pulled chicken. It looks like between pulled chicken and pulled pork, and it just has a nice crunch to it. Oh, so good.
So we're gonna make a hoisin sauce. If you don't know what hoisin is, it's like a Chinese barbecue sauce, usually made from soy and like sugar, and it's thick and it's delicious. You see it a lot of times with pho served at Vietnamese restaurants, but you also see it other places.
This hoisin sauce is super simple. Everything just goes into a blender, you blend it up, and you've got goodness. And I threw in a few extra ingredients. Again, these aren't mandatory, they weren't on our budget, but you know, when you've got beautiful ingredients lying around to spice
and it's gonna
it up.
maybe, if you're adding like a little bit of 5 spice or something, okay, an extra 5 cents to your budget. Big whoop.
So in the blender, I added a few figs that I had, some slices of ginger, a jalapeno, I added some fresh cilantro, I added that black bean paste, that nice fermented black bean paste that we bought. We've got some soy sauce, a little bit of rice vinegar, tiny bit of sesame oil, some brown sugar. You need that sweetness for hoisin, and of course any barbecue sauce. And then 5 spice, because all of those delicious spices in 5 spice, like the clove, the cinnamon, that's what really gives the pungency to that hoisin. Last thing would be salt, and I just started with that. I blended it up nice and smooth, and I tasted it, and it was actually, it was pretty damn good. I didn't cook it because we're gonna cook it later.
Oh, okay.
You'll see. The only thing I changed was adding a little bit more of that bean paste. I wanted some more funkiness there, and then a little bit of vinegar for tang, and then some water to just thin it out. And that is incredible hoisin. So what we're gonna do with the hoisin sauce is I'm gonna take those shredded mushrooms, I'm gonna throw them in a hot pan. That is pulled action right there. And then I added a few dollops of the hoisin, mixed that up. The best vegetarian pulled meat, like none of the fake stuff. That is real mushroom.
And you saved some for the ribs?
So I saved some for the ribs, and I'm gonna be glazing those up and then garnishing very soon.
So one of the key components of any Vietnamese food, especially the banh mi, is the pickled veg. You can use different vegetables, but traditionally it's daikon and usually some carrots. So you get that white and orange. It looks freaking just like, every time I see it, I'm just like, yes, please. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make the pickling solution. To make the pickling solution, you take some rice vinegar, salt, sugar, and some water, and then just heat that up till the sugar dissolves. Let that cool. While that's cooling, you basically peel the outer layer of your veggies. You shred them with a julienne peeler. You can use one of these guys, amazing julienne peeler. This thing's like $7, or you can also just cut it really thin, or just peel it. Whatever you want to do is gonna pickle. It's gonna be delicious. And so shred them up, toss them in some salt, and that's gonna draw the moisture out. Just let that sit for like 10 minutes. You can skip that step, but I just find it like pickles everything faster. Wash the salt off. Mix the rice vinegar with the pickled veg in some kind of jar. Let that sit overnight, at least a couple hours, and you're gonna have this mixture that you can use in anything. It takes any fresh dishes just to a whole nother dimension.
Yeah,
that's
just a beautiful
the
condiment.
fatty chicken, the vinegary, as all the chefs say, it's gonna cut the bullshit and cut the whatever, and the juices flowing. Blah.
So for a taco, a lot of times we'll top it with some sort of creamy sauce. So we wanted to take a lot of those Vietnamese flavors and turn it into an aioli. So that's exactly what we did. We've got a jalapeno and cilantro aioli. Again, this is another just dump and blend situation.
We should talk specifically to the banh mi. All banh mi's usually have the mayo on them. They have cilantro, they have jalapeno, you know, cucumber. So this is kind of taking 3 of those pieces and jamming into one.
Boom. So to a blender, we added jalapeno, some garlic cloves, some more cilantro, a squeeze of lime. I hit it with about 4 egg yolks, added a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil, and then I blended that and started bringing that all together. And then what I did is start emulsifying in that oil, which is really going to thicken it up nicely. Just keep on blending it up until you've got this beautiful green goodness, this thick, creamy aioli or mayo, whatever you want to call it. And that, again, that's good for really any type of sandwich, but it's going to be amazing.
And we're going to be zipping it on the tacos. That's how we invented the zip. We started doing these parties, taco parties, and people would want the zip. Zip, that's the zip on the top. The final thing, so we did cook some rice. If you see rice flying up, we just made some nice jasmine rice for the side. But
that was on the budget.
It was like $6 for like 8,000 pounds of rice. So green papaya. So we got a bunch of green papayas, and they were cheap and they're amazing. If you can't find green papayas, don't worry about it. You can use green mangoes or even cabbage would work for this. But green papaya salad, huge in Thailand, huge in Vietnam. So all we did was we peeled the green papayas and then used our same julienne shredder. There is a cool trick if you don't have one. You can take the papaya and kind of like add all these long cuts and then peel it and you'll get the things. I've seen that before. So what you do, once you have your papaya nice and peeled, let that chill for a minute. Now we had a little bit of tamarind lying around. This is completely optional. It wasn't in our budget, but we had about 13 cents worth of tamarind. Yeah. So we just took some tamarind pulp and kind of mixed it with water. You end up with this little tamarind pulp. It's like a tamarind paste. Add some lime to that, some jalapenos which we sliced up, some sugar, fish sauce, and mix. Now traditionally in a papaya salad they might be pounding that son of a bitch away. We didn't have a huge ass pounder, big pock thing. So what we did was we kind of mixed it together and then strained out all the jalapeno seeds because it was spicy as heck.
Really spicy.
Oh my god. And then we just mixed that in with the papaya. Give it a taste, kind of taste for seasoning. You can add more chili, you can add more fish sauce, whatever you want.
And that's gonna act as sort of like the slaw that you would see on a taco. That's
crunch,
the idea,
yeah.
Or just a side dish, which is incredible.
Little side, and you can leave the fish sauce out. You could add like a little soy or just some salt if you want to make it completely vegan. Then we just tossed in a ton of mint and a little bit of green onion just to give it some color, and that's it.
We've got 100 RSVPs, we've got a lot of food.
I apologize to anyone if this doesn't go through, but you gotta pray to the rain gods. I am praying. Please, oh gods of rain, hold out for us.
The party starts at 5:30 and they're saying the thunderstorms are coming in like at like 6:30, so we'll see.
So we're just gonna have fun. Either way, it's gonna be amazing. Now let's go do some cooking. I used to have all this stuff. I want to get done. Instant BGBQ right here. We're going to be giving it out to every single fan. If you click the link below, you can buy your own. This stuff's delicious. It turns basically everything into barbecue. So if you don't have a barbecue, or even if you want some more flavor, you sprinkle this on, you mix it in ketchup, whatever you want, you got your delicious barbecue flavor.
Free food. I love your video. Awesome. Whoever wants a rib, we're going to be coming out.
Can't stop. We won't stop. We can't stop.
Can't stop the fans. They still come out.
Right, party's underway. The rain, you know, scared some people away. We still had a really good turnout.
Yeah, it started downpouring at one point, but it really didn't. We were protected under this tree, which was really nice. So kind of, you know, washed over, and then it was just good partying.
Yeah, amazing timing. The fact that like we got here, we made all the food almost. Got a lot of people here. Then it starts pouring, and then people like it kind of clears up, and then the party starts up again. But it's really cool. Like everyone loved the food.
Love the food. Great conversations. It's always it's awesome hearing how people, you know, how people have brought cooking into their life and hearing their stories about the recipes they're making and how cooking has changed their life. You know what's great about a good party is when you don't have to like host. People are making friends, they're coming together.
See numbers being exchanged.
Yeah, that's always good. It's like, you know, that's the idea behind a party, especially with good food. You're bringing people together. Now we've got, who knows what friendships
and we know
are
if
being
like
made.
if these people that are here are into the Brothers Green, then automatically they're cool, right?
That's
like you get to see people like, hey, you know, they're into food, like I'm into food.
You know, I didn't think about that, but that makes sense. So we've got about an hour left, but all the food is almost gone. So I would say success, 100 people.
I'm glad
not
100
not quite 100 people,
Yeah.
but close enough. I would say it would be enough food for 100 people.
It would be enough, but like people get to eat a lot more.
Yeah,
now.
basically you get double.
You get maybe a
portions.
third of that here. You know?
There's probably 50 people with the rain. I'll blame it on the rain because we got the RSVPs. Hope you guys enjoyed the Vietnamese tacos.
I hope you learned something.
Yeah.
Throw a party, have fun. Food is all about bringing people together. It's about having fun with a dish and seeing what you can create, making friends, and just kicking it.